Oh, hey, listeners. This is not a brand new episode, but this is Betsy, and I'm here with Trent.
Hey.
We are posting this because we are so excited about the movie opening this weekend. It is the brand new film Twisters that we have decided to give you all just a little taste, a little preview of the episode we did over at patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where we inducted the original 1996 Twister into the Never Seen It Movie Club as one of our all-time favorite movies.
A classic.
So we hope you enjoy this little preview and consider joining us at patreon.com/neverseenitpod to listen to the whole episode.
Enjoy. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Never Seen It Movie Club. My name is Trent. I'm sitting here with Betsy.
Hi, Trent.
Betsy, I have just been vibrating in my seat over here because I am so excited to cover the movie that we are going to cover today for this July 2024 edition of the Never Seen It Movie Club. Betsy, I would say the movie we're about to talk about is the movie, as a child, I watched the most. Probably up until I was in high school/college.
I would further conjecture that this is one of the movies you and I have watched the most together as a couple.
In sum total, yes.
Yeah, this is a movie that is on in our house bare minimum once a year.
At least once a year. And we reference it, we talk about it, and we watch it. Betsy, we are covering the movie Twister from 1996.
I'm not going to lie, Trent. We talked halfway through this movie because we were so jacked to the tits to watch it. And I think this is probably going to, by the end of this episode, be the most hoarse we've ever been.
Probably I'm already kind of hoarse the way it is. So,
because we get too excited. We get too excited about this movie.
like I said, I've just been anticipating watching this movie. I've been kind of rehearsing in my head all the different things I want to talk about, but there's just so much to talk about here. So why don't we start at the beginning? This movie, Twister, is being inducted into the Never Seen It Movie Club, not because it is this high art masterpiece of a film. No, this is a popcorn action movie at its core, and we fucking love it.
This is a quintessential, I grew up in the Midwest kind of movie.
And I'm going to warn everybody right now. This episode, of all of the hundreds and hundreds of episodes of content that we have done for you, this is going to be probably the most Midwest you will ever hear us.
Oh, yeah. We're ready. We're ready for this. We have opinions about why this movie has stuck with us. When this is, to me, it feels like one that maybe has gotten a little bit forgotten. In the way that a lot of movies have gotten, have lived on until this summer for reasons we will discuss later in this episode. I think this one is easily put on the back burner and not nearly as significant to people as others.
The general populace kind of forgets about Twister because there are bigger movies that have to do with, bigger cities. Like, think about what was coming out in the mid to late 90s as far as big CG fest disaster movies. Independence Day.
We recently talked about Starship Troopers came out not long after this one. Men in Black came out around this time.
And even like the big volcano movies and Armageddon.
Dante's Peak.
All of the big action movie with all the big CG, all the big disaster movies that were very much in vogue around this time. But I mention all those other movies because all of those other movies take place in much larger cities. It has a lot more people on screen, maybe even more famous people on screen. But this movie is set in the Midwest. And by Midwest, I mean the center of the fucking country where Tornado Alley is.
Yeah, in the true Tornado Alley, this movie takes place in Oklahoma.
Indeed.
But it expands like the impact of this film when it came out in 1996, to bring it back to what we were talking about. The beginnings, our history with this movie. I would say everybody I knew as a kid saw Twister.
This movie was basically required viewing if you lived in this part of the country.
Yeah, this came out when I was 11 years old. The thing I always remember is when I was in the 6th grade, and this movie had already been out. I think it was already out on video at that point. My teacher was doing all these like creative, like English projects with us and different like learning to be creative exercises. And one of them was we had to do a puppet show, and a group of boys in my class did a puppet show of Twister.
I've never heard this story. Please continue.
It's burned into my memory. They have like G.I. Joe in a wig, and that was Aunt Meg. They had paper tornadoes on a pencil, and they were spinning them around. And they had like little trucks, and they're crashing them into each other. It was glorious mayhem from a bunch of 11-year-olds. And so that's what I'm saying when I say everybody saw this fucking movie. We went so far as to recreate it for the entire class.
Yeah.
And I don't recall the first time I saw this. I don't have a distinct memory of I was in this place at this time. It just sort of appeared in my life one day, and I have not been without it since.
Yeah, I'm kind of similar, except for, the puppet show. I remember the marketing behind this movie being very, very prevalent. I didn't see it in the theater, but I remember when my folks got a new house. This is in 1996, mind you. When they got this new house, we moved in, but at the same time, they upgraded their television. They went from I don't know what to a 32-inch tube TV, of course, because it's still 1996 and we're poor. But it was this big fucking unit. It is a all-in-one kind of a setup. It's this 32-inch TV. I think it's 32. And all around it is this fucking wood box with the big, probably about 5-foot high speakers built in with the audio system underneath with a tape deck and a CD player.
Hot.
And I think a VCR also in there. So that was all one big unit that they bought.
Top of the line, baby.
And it was pretty much top of the line for the time, at least what we could afford anyway. And I remember watching this movie for the first time on that television with that audio system. And I say audio system because, Betsy, half of this movie is its sound. And we were going to get way more into that. But when I think about watching this movie, I think about this is also the first VHS movie that we took home that had the THX test sound at the beginning of the movie.
The one.
Yeah.
Yep.
It had that in the VHS. And I remember turning the knob on that speaker set almost all the way up until I got in trouble. Just because I wanted to hear the sound coming out of those speakers.
Yeah, the sound in this is so impactful that I'm sure you were like the kid in those old, what were the commercials for where they're like sitting in the seat being blasted away by the sound. Your clothes are like flying backwards.
Yeah, I think that's like the Memorex or RCA. I can't remember exactly what it was.
It's a really old commercial, but that was
I know
basically
exactly what you're saying, yeah.
And so you were so literally blown away by the sound and the impact of this movie.
Yeah, and this has only ever been a home viewing experience up until last year. Betsy and I went to the locally owned and operated movie theater in town here, and they were playing this movie Twister on the big screen.
I begged you. I said, Trent, we have to go see Twister.
It didn't take that much convincing. Normally, I don't like to go out to a movie theater to see a movie I've already seen plenty of times.
Especially something that we own that we could just turn on any time, like Twister.
Yeah, we've got a great system here. We got surround sound. We got a big TV. I can probably experience it a little bit better at home than I can at least one of these older movies anyway. But because I didn't have the opportunity to see it in its glory back in 1996, I had to say yes, we had to go.
Yeah, we were swept away by nostalgia, and it was fucking awesome. It was so goddamn loud in that theater.
It was so fucking fun with everybody in that theater having the same kind of reactions as us.
It was basically a sold out show.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the seat, and the sound is so big in this theater that I can feel it vibrating in my headrest.
Something that I read about this movie back in 96 when it was released to theaters, theaters were reporting that this movie was ruining some of their speakers because the bass was so intense.
They didn't have a good enough subwoofer system for the theater.
Whatever woofers that were in these speakers were not made.
Not enough woof.
Were not made for this kind of sound.
Yeah, so those two really like Twister.
Yeah, we do, don't we?
So if you enjoyed that clip, we hope you'll come over to patreon.com/neverseenitpod, where you can listen to the full episode of Twister from 1996, which is officially a part of the Never Seen It Movie Club, which is our personal Hall of Fame and our favorite movies. And it's growing. Almost 7 full months of content over there that you can listen to now.
So come check out the full episode. Enjoy all the content over there. Patreon.com/neverseenitpod.
And don't forget to tune in next weekend to this feed where we'll be covering the brand new movie, Twisters.
I can't wait.